And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome as we head into the most anticipated best of 5 right now for the Garena Premier League between Young Generation versus Ascension Gaming. Of course, before anything else, we are going to be your casters for today. Arctic at your service, fam, and of course, with me is Atlas.
Of course, coming into this final match, final match for the Garena Premier League Summer 2017 is essentially a rematch from what happened 2 days ago. Young Generation and Ascension ended in a 3-2 in favor of Ascension. We'll see if this will be completely different.
Yeah, I'm actually interested in seeing if Young Generation can make those adjustments based on that previous best of 5 that they had. So it's an interesting thing that we're going to have this rematch once again between them, albeit circumstances that will put them in the second seed, whoever wins this best of 5.
Because this is definitely worlds on the line for both of these teams. They do not want anything to go wrong for them. We'll see what YG has to offer. The Jarvan, Zaya, and the Sejuani, definitely a strong combination. As for Ascension, stealing away, the Zaya was actually stolen away from Big Koro by Lloyd. So this is going to be Varus, Varus for Big Koro, while the Rakan will be stolen, will actually be the second pick here for Ascension.
And there we go. So, nonetheless, just a quick review of these bans here. Lulu, Rek'Sai, Renekton, as well as the Kled Callista Jace from both YG and Ascension respectively on the bans. But going into the second rotation here, looks like they're going to be banning out, for Ascension Gaming rather, they'll be banning out any viable supports that would really complement Nuni here towards the bot side, along with the overall composition that they're going for. Here on the other side, of course, however, Cassiopeia going to be taken away from Naur, so...
Definitely, right now, the Ascension squad needs a little bit of scaling, and banning away the Cassiopeia is actually a great ban against this composition so far. Ascension really choking out Warlock for this one. A lot of options taken away from YG to really enable this Zaya coming from Lloyd. So they have to actually find alternatives. How can they enable Lloyd for this game and decide of YG? As for Ascension, they're going to have to find how to scale up, or if they just want to go for a game where they just end it during the mid game and not go into a stage where they have to scale, and they do not have the scaling because they're lacking the Cassiopeia and the Corki.
So there we go, ladies and gents. We'll just have to see what Young Generation will be drafting here. They will be locking in the Gnar though. So for the side of Ascension, again, within much interest to see as to what support they'll be going for as an alternative. Thresh actually is open, so that is actually a good pick.
Yeah, it's a very good all-around pick. You can't go wrong with Thresh no matter what your AD carry is. So this is definitely a good pickup, but I think Ascension would have really appreciated any of these bans here. The Braum and the Alistar, they would have really appreciated initiation potential, but here they're just forced to go for an all-rounder like Thresh. Syndra for the mid lane helps with a lot of bursts. Seems like Ascension will want to end this fast and strong in the mid game, leaving YG with lesser options. It's going to be the Orianna, but really the big fear if they do lock in this Orianna is they have tons of utility, but where is the damage?
Ah, yes indeed. So again, I'm actually interested in seeing if Young Generation, especially, I'm expecting a lot here from Venus particularly to really get the lanes going on just to kind of make up for that damage deficiency. But then again, a good setup with this Rakan. There's a lot of great CC potential as well to just kind of avoid most of the potential damage that Ascension Gaming could deal out should they get disrupted in the smaller fights to even bigger clashes.
And it is the wobble combo that YG could pull out. Is that if YG can actually pull out their composition to full effect with all of that CC, they can just deal out their little bits of damage and then get the win. But if Ascension is getting the jump on them, gets a jump with a Flag and Drag, Scatter the Weak, Glacial Prison, then the sheer damage from Ascension will be too much. Because if you put these two teams head on, these compositions, Ascension will always be ahead. But if YG is crafty enough to use their CC, layer their CC perfectly, then it's just going to be their game, their team fight.
Yeah,
so
a lot is on the line here, ladies and gents, as we head into this game in just a little bit. Currently loading up right now. So, I mean, it's crazy because from just the general run that we've had during the GPL, again, of course, what was introduced to the format recently was the addition of a second seed for Vietnam, and from what we've been seeing here, it's definitely very much worth
Definitely. YG has shown themselves to be a true contender, and that it's not just them underperforming in the Vietnamese finals, but it's just that GAM was on a completely different level. They swept through all of their games, coming up to the point where they get a spot to Worlds, and YG, a lot of hard-fought victories. They faltered against Ascension, but they have had 5 games prior to prepare and study how Ascension plays. Ascension has the same privilege too, so it's really which of these teams had better studying, had better preparation.
And there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Look like we have loaded into the Rift as we head into Game 1 for this best of 5 here in what will be the final matchup in the Garena Premier League 2017 summer season between Thailand's Ascension Gaming versus Vietnam's Young Generation. Let's head into the action.
Definitely, right now, both of these teams don't really want to risk anything too hard because, man, if you lose the first game of a best of 5 in a crucial best of 5 and getting a play-in spot for Worlds, then you just lose a lot of momentum, a lot of the mindset that you've come into the game with. So you just really want to take it a little bit slower, a little bit more calculated coming into this Game 1.
So there we go. Palette and good defense right here. In fact, the good thing about this is that Young Generation making the extra step to just to kind of make sure that Ascension doesn't get any offensive warding towards their side or any potential invades for that matter here. Again, Southeast Asia is very much abundant in all these very aggressive junglers, I'd say. So
definitely, and the Vietnamese junglers are also quite effective. We saw, but basically everyone in Southeast Asia has really good junglers, and here denying information from the other team is definitely worth it, even if you yourself don't get that information.
So here we are in this matchup thus far, though G4 taking a little bit, but very much understandable. Naul, especially once he does hit up with that shield, will be able to avoid some of that traded damage between him and G4. And
there is that cleanse as well on both of these mid laners. They do not want to get caught within the grasp of those junglers with lots of CC, as well as a CC available to the opposing laner. We'll see, however, as both of these guys, these junglers, Venus and Nooney, are converging around the top side of the map. That is the blue buff take for Nooney and the red buff take for Venus. We'll see how they'll transition to that. Seems like Nooney is signaling that he wants to establish some vision control on the top side to help out both Jisoo and G4. And how Venus will respond to that. He is a little bit behind on the clear as a Gragas. Seems like Nooney will just go for a straight clear of his own jungle, while Venus might be looking to help out Naul against G4 here, or maybe for a little bit of an invade against Nooney.
Indeed, G4 though has to be a little bit more careful, as well as a little bit conservative towards how he goes within the trade wars between Naul here, because he is lingering at a fourth of his mana, so he won't be able to execute a full combo as much as he wants to. Also considering the fact that, like I did mention, if you're going to look at the trades that happened, even though G4 was able to get a full combo, because of that shield coming in from the Orianna, definitely negated a lot of that, but looks like Nooney, actually in the vicinity, gets the knockup though, but G4, again, this is what I've been talking about here, they do get the stun, and looks like they will be able to get the kill, just the right amount of mana to get that full damage out.
Definitely. I think that was a huge misplay come from Naul. You already got information from Venus warding the wolves that Nooney was right around the corner, and you should have expected, okay, it's a Sejuani, he's gonna go for red, blue, and then Gromp, or red, Gromp, and then blue, and then go to the wolves. And since the wolves were gone as soon as Venus warded, then they should have expected Nooney to go to the Raptor side. But instead, he lingered around the bottom side of mid lane, leaving himself susceptible to such an obvious gank.
Hook connecting onto Pallet, though. That is going to be the play. Gets the knock off on the bot lane of Ascension in return, but looks like that'll just be a little bit of a trade-off nonetheless.
There's a little bit of a trading here in bot lane. Those trades didn't really amount to anything. Venus might be looking for something against Nooney. He will get spotted out by... Actually, no.
Does
Nooney,
transition to the...
Yeah, Nooney has no idea that Venus might be around the corner. This is dangerous for Warlock and Lloyd. They do have their summer spells.
Though, good. He actually gets the knockup, though. Lloyd trying to escape it will be going down to Big Koro, though, as Warlock retreats to turret.
Man, that split second where Nooney decided to go to Krugs, man, that Venus was not spotted at all. And here, Nooney is forced to just go for the Krugs, and he could not do anything there. The body slam into the Dark Passage was just too perfect, and at that point, Lloyd was dead. And this is actually giving a huge advantage to Big Koro and Pallet. Lloyd, no heal, no flash, very susceptible. Big Koro still has both summoner spells, so they have to be careful. You already lose the first kill in the lane, and Lloyd is just going to lose even further as he returns to the bot lane, losing that priority, losing that pressure against Big Koro and Pallet.
Indeed, and if you're going to look at the map towards Ascension Gaming's jungle side, it's actually quite dark, you know, not really as much vision as Young Generation is exerting, so definitely no surprise there as far as how susceptible they are. A little bit of trade though, Jisoo taking quite the poke damage from Ren as well.
I can pretty much expect this to happen in a Jarvan Gnar lane because, you know, Jisoo on that Jarvan naturally does not fare well in extended trades, and that's what Ren on that Gnar always looks for, extended trades. Because even if you disengage as that Jarvan, he's still going to chase after you with a hyper activated once the 3 stacks proc. So here it's quite natural, but Jisoo is not slacking off in terms of CS, and he's actually built up the Tiamat so he can just fight against Ren way, way better and then counter the wave push.
In all fairness, looking at the Vision games, again, looking from Ascension, I've been paying attention as to how frequent they've been setting down their wards. If you're going to notice, Young Generation always on top of dropping wards whenever available, but for Ascension Gaming over the past minutes, it's probably not as solid, which is why I wasn't as surprised that Venus was able to get that gank on. If anything, he would have only gotten spotted by chance by Nooney if he didn't proceed to taking the next camp.
That was just Providence not in favor of Nooney and the rest of Ascension for that bot lane. But so far, that huge summer spell lead is not manifesting for Big Koro. Ren might be looking for something against Jisoo, but I think that was quite obvious with how Ren was playing that Venus is around a corner. I think Venus just has to cut it and then go straight, but he doesn't really have any camps, but he's being very patient here.
Waiting an opportunity, gets the knockback onto Jisoo into the wall, but Venus unfortunately not able to get a good follow-up. He is still at level 5, so explosive cast not quite there yet to get a full-on setup. Yeah,
that was quite over-ambitious coming from Venus. Ren really blew it there, and how he just gave it away to Jisoo that Venus is right around the corner, fight me, fight me. And so Jisoo was able to signal himself to just, okay, I might be in trouble here, I'm getting out.
And that's a little bit of time wasted there for Venus overall. Did commit a bit there, but Nooney as well, kind of lingering towards top side as well. Ren looking around this jungle side, checking for if Nooney may have went for an invade or takes onto Venus's jungle side, but no, still all caps are mostly up.
Maybe that was a fake out. Because here, with all the pings on that blue buff, it might mean that, okay, Naul signaling that G4 is getting the blue buff along with Nooney. And I think Nooney was trying to position himself to get a gank against Ren, while YG thinks that the blue buff is being handed to, so there's no way, but here comes the fight in the bot lane.
Indeed, it's Lloyd taking quite a bit of damage, so Venus will be joining the party. I don't think Lloyd will be surviving this enough. Venus able to survive with a slither of health thanks to that heal coming in from Big Koro. Warlock might be regretting this, but no, Pallet actually manages to escape, so very good juggle there, and that'll result to a 2-0 in favor of Young
so
Generation.
Far, YG on point with the ganks in bot lane, taking full advantage that Lloyd still did not have flash for that fight, not even a heal. And there they just instantly take him down. Venus so far quite ahead in terms of the ganks. Naul is there for safety as well. G4 not at all there for any help and following for the roam, but that was quite too late already. Lloyd is way behind in terms of itemization. 0-2 and 2 waves behind means that Big Koro has like 12% more attack speed.
Ooh, Cataclysm actually getting the kill onto Ren right there to seal the deal. Not able to get to Mega Gnar form fast enough.
Definitely not. At that point, Jisoo was ahead in the itemization, having Corrupting Potion, Longsword and Cloth Armor, and Tiamat versus Ren's Jorum's Fist. So definitely the stats there, the timing of these backs, the timing of how you get your gold was definitely in Jisoo's favor. Same with YG. in the bot lane. Big Koro getting all these items means that Lloyd will just have a harder and harder time there in the bot side, trying to survive against Big Koro and Pallet.
Will be information from Jisoo going for that recall. Teleport is almost up for him as well, along with Ren. So that's going to be interesting if we'll be seeing any plays towards bot side later on.
It's quite possible because Infernal Drake is available. It's not quite the same as Mountain Drake, but
Ooh, we've seen a setup.
Oh dear.
Goes in. Will we be seeing a follow-up with Glacial Prison? No, looks like they will not be pursuing. A little bit too dangerous to force it under turret.
That was quite a tragic attempt by Warlock there. Completely missing the flay, busting the gank completely, giving Venus a little bit of time around here top side if he wants to do something against Jisoo. But yeah, both of these teams definitely want something to happen bot side. Infernal Drake is quite important in a matchup where you need damage. YG wants that Infernal Drake to make up for their relative lack of damage compared to Ascension.
Indeed. Here we go, Meganar. Venus actually lingering once again. Will they be going for a setup? Not sure if Jisoo was able to spot that. I don't think so. And looks like he will be forced to just kind of farm under turret once again.
I think Jisoo's playing this very, very carefully. Very carefully indeed.
Ooh, and that will be the continued recall coming in from Venus. You know, another attempt, not able to push for that. But Pallet as well denying some vision from the side of Ascension game here. So that will be a little bit of a limit towards how Ascension could play it out with their teleport plays coming in from Jisoo.
We will see how all that fares. So far, it seems both of these junglers will be converging in the bot side. Vision is being placed around the area. A play might actually occur here in the bot side. Nooney and Venus might meet each other. But wow, that is a teleport coming from Ren to the tower, which means that Jisoo has the advantage. Venus and Nooney meet each other here.
Indeed.
Pallet will go for the assist.
Might have to be careful here, but then again, he is quite tanky for the meantime, so he will be able to survive. That was just a Gragas and a Rakan converging onto him.
Ascension should take a chance here. Jisoo has teleport, Ren does not. That is definitely going to be a quick Infernal Drake. The Fire Dragon is the squishiest Drake in the game. And if they can take this very, very sneakily, then Ren has no chance of responding to that objective, while Jisoo can just turn it into a 5v3 or a 5v4 or a 4v3.
Indeed, but looking at the teleport options, if ever Jisoo were to try to want to make a play, his only options mostly is, of course, this wave along with the turret, plus that one ward towards the brush in the river. So not really as many options, especially if they want to try to get a push in, but Venus actually lingering towards Ascension Gaming's jungle here.
Very aggressive posturing here. Venus definitely knows, even if they don't have Ren, it doesn't seem like Ascension is making any proactive plays, but here it comes.
Here we go. Finally, Big Koro might be going down. Not even a might. That is going to be indeed a secured kill. Pallet and Venus are trying to back away, but Pallet might be the next casualty here. Cataclysm in, and Jisoo gets the kill.
That is the outrageous cost of Ren choosing to teleport to his tower. Why did he teleport? He did not have a wave crashing against his turret. He should have just walked to lane and had a teleport ready in case of a fight. And here, it cost them 2 kills and then Infernal Drake as well. And that's definitely badly played there by Ren by teleporting to his turret.
In lead, while that was happening, Lloyd trying to get a shove in towards bot lane was going to be going for the response with Naul. And towards top side, though, that will leave Ren to get some free fart along with quite a bit of damage onto the turret there. Jisoo will be going for the response, looking to prevent any further takedowns.
And now, Ren, all he could do was get insignificant damage against the turret. Not worth it there for YG. Naul trying to go for something against Warlock and Lloyd.
Heal being popped up though from Lloyd to try to save Warlock here. That is going to be the shield that'll save his life. Hook onto Pallet though, will be taking a bit of turret damage, but will be able to survive just
out of there. Indeed. Skedaddle, but here comes Venus. Might be going for something against Warlock. He has the flash, but it doesn't seem like he wants to risk it.
Oh, won't be forcing anything. Lloyd was quite low on mana there. Might have potentially been able to take the kill onto Warlock, but then again, better safe than sorry, I'd say. First turret will be going to Young Generation though, with that heavier numbers towards bot side.
But they do get, in the end, the trade for the turret top side. Not the same value. Big Koro definitely enjoying the gold there, but G4 Nuni taking this Rift Herald might actually equalize that. What is Big Koro and Pallet doing in the bot lane? Still pushing this bot side. We'll see if that was worth it.
Indeed.
After Ascension attempts to do something with his Rift Herald Eye.
Young generation though, 3 members still trying to converge onto this turret though. Will be backing away at the cost of Rift Herald. So this will be interesting. As far as what we're seeing here regardless, gold is still very much even. So we're just going to have to see if that actually tilts the scale with the Rift Herald advantage that Ascension Gaming has right now, depending on how they actually use it. If they could get the full value out of it.
Definitely. Here, G4 will be getting the blue buff. Will help him a lot in terms of laning. But if you look at the gold on both teams, it's quite even, but it's mostly concentrated one that is huge damage.
Will be going down, gets the full onslaught from G4.
That's great for Ascension. This puts their gold distribution on G4 and Jisoo. In a skirmish or team fight happening at 15 to 20 minutes, the gold of Ascension is concentrated on these two solo laners, which will put their burst damage through the roof. Here, they're using that opportunity where there's no pallet to engage or support to reach the mid lane. This will be an easy destruction of tower here.
Just a little bit, 2 hits, and down it goes. Rift Herald definitely doing its work there. Won't be continuing though for the meantime, as all members of Young Generation are up. Jisoo taking quite a bit of damage though. Meganar will be coming in for Ren. That is going to be the Cataclysm go to trap in Ren, but no, that'll ultimately be the kill. But that was enough time to stall in order for the rest of Ascension to go back here up on top. That is 3 members here. Glacial Prison actually hits on. This might be as good as dead. Venus goes in onto Lloyd.
There's
as Pallet joins the party along with Naul. These might be a lot of dead members here coming in from Ascension. Lloyd very, very low on mana as the rest of Ascension are just forced to leave him and goes down. Pallet gets the kill.
Not worth it in the end for Ascension. They get a good kill against Ren, but he stalls it quite long enough. Flash trades for Big Koro and G4. But this is definitely much more worth it for YG, giving them control over this top side, getting the turret. So far it's a 2 for 2. Worth it more for YG, I believe, but Ascension now has more potential for control because they took down the mid lane first tier turret. G4 still looking for a kill against Big Koro. I think he will actually have it.
Though, full damage.
Oh,
but no, actually, the ult, but still, that does not prevent G4 from getting that last Dark Spear to secure the kill.
I think we will be seeing a replay of that fight here. Yeah, Jisoo definitely just falls down here. I think he is dead as Ren can just flash over. The important thing here is that Ren is still quite tanky and they don't kill him quite fast enough. As we see here. Actually, the big thing is that Nuni used Glacial Prison. That's huge. That's huge. Now there is no Sejuani ultimate to assist against Lloyd here. And now they just have to leave him for dead.
That was a lot exerted on just one target, especially that Glacial Prison, which could have potentially secured their escape route.
Unnecessary at that point. So far, but that actually does give a lot of gold to YG. Ascension still ahead. Lloyd, once again, might be caught out. He does have the flash
very much
in a few seconds.
Very awkward, though, taking quite the damage here. Just kind of getting the balance on Pallet. Will be forced to back away. A couple goals are not just happening between Rakan and Zaya here, but looks like Venus will be getting that kill.
Yeah, definitely. His flash was a few seconds off until it was off cooldown there. And that was just Lloyd mispositioning a lot, costing him a summoner spell that he could have used in the next skirmish or team fight.
Nuni, though, will be spotted out by this ward here. And that will be Ascension kind of starting to develop vision towards the Baron side. We are almost near at a minute before Baron spawns. So that's definitely an objective that neither side wants to give away. Nuni and G4 will be converging onto Big Koro. Unfortunately, misses out on the knockup, but does get the slow. G4 continuing. That's going to be quite the damage coming in from Cinder right here as G4 ultimately secures the kill, now on a rampage.
No need for unleashed power there. Big Koro was a sitting duck. Varus with no flash, no support at all. Cornered by 2 members. Oh,
ooh, unfortunately. Knocks in onto death here as Venus and Pallet will be continuing the chase along with Ren. Jisoo clearly couldn't deal with that. Will be getting the killing spree for Venus.
Jisoo is split pushing in the wrong neighborhood. Pays the price. This might be Ocean Break taken by YG quite easily. But at the cost of what? Top lane, Nuni and G4 know their priorities. they decide we don't need Ocean Drake. We could just burst down YG later. Let's take control of more parts of the map by taking down the second-tier top turret. That's actually, I believe, more worth it for Ascension in terms of the kill, rather the win conditions for Ascension. They can't afford to give up an Ocean Drake to YG. But this is, actually, they're not completely giving up quite yet. If they can move towards this and delay the completion of the Drake, they could possibly take it. Nooney is on his way, 1,400 health. I think this is just YG taking it, but that was quite a slow take-up by YG on that Ocean Drake.
Indeed, and in the process, Young Generation, prior to taking Dragon, gets quite the efficient number of vision towards the bottom side jungle of Ascension Gaming. So that's a lot of information away, spotting out those 3 members. So we'll just have to see how that transitions. But then again, a lot of vision will eventually tilt towards this Baron side since Dragon is down, Baron is up. And we'll just have to see a lot, though, much more in favor of Ascension, I say, because of that heavy push towards top side.
Definitely.
So that does give them a lot more control of this Baron than Young Generation.
But the thing is that these early Barons are so popular recently in this GPL. Oh, Venus might have
so
some
much
trouble.
damage on both Venus and Big Koro. Actually gets the stun, but here comes the teleport, though, coming in from Jisoo. Will be canceling.
Yeah, they do want to continue to push here in this bot lane. Venus is dead. Ren is the only one defending this right now, but the bot lane of YG is starting to recall and start defending. Now, quite late to
Glacial
take up.
Prison on to Ren there, and that's
Slaughter.
going to be an easy... Indeed, that would be the right term, actually. A complete slaughter onto that Gnar.
Man, they have to show some mercy to Ren here. They've been constantly hunting him down in groups when Ren is solo. That's an endangered species, guys. Gnar is an endangered species. But it seems like Ascension gets what they're looking for. A 5k gold lead, complete control of like 70% of the map right now. They just need to place a little bit of vision control as well to really establish their dominance over the map in the macro game. So far, Ascension is super ahead, 3 turrets, and they get the Drake that they wanted, Infernal Drake. So far, in the next team fight, Ascension will have an advantage. They have more information, they have more safety, they have more territory.
G4 building up on these Dark Spheres, just waiting for someone from Young Generation. That's going to be a juicy Big Koro right there.
Oh dear.
Looks like patience will be a
heal,
virtue right now. We'll be getting, actually uses the flash. We'll be getting a full combo though, and that'll be enough to secure the kill. But looks like G4 might be
Dark
sacrificed, but no!
Passage.
Dark's Passage, good save right there coming in from Warlock.
Good save there. Freebie for Ascension
Oh,
there. Pallet as
Pallet.
well. Oh, gear. You do not want to face check that. There is absolutely no vision, and now Ascension extending their lead. 6,000, stealing away resources from Venus as well. Posturing for Baron here. This is so far a 5v3. But this is quite risky. They don't have the speed of usual Baron clears, but they are doing it at quite a decent pace.
Venus going to try to attempt to go for
Flashes
the steal,
up.
though. That's going to be very dangerous. Actually gets the hook
they're trying to
onto
deny.
Venus here, but no, they actually do the Cataclysm to zone him out. Nooney, Lloyd,
Wait.
and G4 are left to take this Baron, but nonetheless, that will be the sacrifice in the form of Warlock to make sure that it is indeed secured away from Venus for the taking.
That was almost disastrous for Ascension. If they, I like the idea where they just deny Venus any chance to steal, but that could have been disastrous because that was a huge Gnar ultimate from Ren.
Indeed.
And
Plus,
that was, but then again, YG, as I said, they have all the setup, all the utility, all the CC, but where's the damage?
good setup there of Cataclysm to kind of grant that extra terrain that would avoid Venus from actually going in onto the Baron pit right there.
Body
Although,
blocking the body slam as well. And at that point, Venus did not have flash, so there's no way we could have stolen. But yeah, it's really the big problem with YG. Even if Ren gets a good ultimate, if Naul gets an absolutely phenomenal shockwave, where's the follow-up damage coming from? It's just chain CC, but the damage is not quite getting there, especially if you consider that Jisoo and Nooney are going to try and dive onto Big Koro and Naul, and they have respectable damage even as bruisers, even if Nooney as a tank, he's dealing a lot of percentage health damage against Big Koro.
this is just an unfortunate distribution of kills coming in from Young Generation here. This is a point wherein Venus, even at 3, 1, and 4, great KDA, but what's that when the damage coming in from both?
And this all started in the draft.
Yeah.
Because Ascension banned away Cassiopeia and Corki. YG has no damage at this point in the game. And at this point, YG has no choice but to be always on the defensive. Here they go.
That's going to be a good stun, though. Full shutdown onto G4. Will this be the fight that Young Generation needs to get back into this game? Lloyd getting a good stun, though. A lot of damage, though, coming in onto Pallet. Will be able to dash away, though, but still, with G4 as a casualty, they miss out on damage. But Jisoo getting a good split towards this top side here with this Empowered. Baron looks like we'll be able to escape to safety as well. Fortunately, not able to take the inhibitor, but still, good job by Ascension. Does lose out on G4.
It's definitely more worth it for Ascension. They lose G4, but YG pays so much. 2 turrets, an inhibitor turret, and a second-tier mid turret. That is absolutely huge. And this could set up Ascension for a good vision control establishment around Mountain Drake. YG, as I said, they're forced to go in the defensive. They tried to be the ones that pulled the trigger there. It did not work out. They got a kill at what cost?
Mooney, though, they are fully aware that he is within the area. Hook actually connecting onto Venus, but looks like he'll be walking away for the meantime.
I really like how Ascension played the draft this game, and it's manifesting so much. They're getting so much payoff out of reading YG's composition. It's like, okay, they picked up the Gragas, Rakan, and Varus in the first rotation of picks. What can we deny from them? Let's deny from them all the mid-game damage that Ascension needs. All the mid-game, late-game damage is completely unavailable for YG. They had to pick up the Orianna, no other choice. And the Orianna is just not working yet. There's no damage, even if there's good initiation coming from everyone on YG. The quickness, explosive gas, chains of corruption, shockwave, Gnar ultimate. Even if you pull that off, you'd have to pull that off perfectly to match the Ascension damage that they just a little bit of setup for. Well, YG needs a perfect puzzle piece connecting to each other for a winning team fight. And Ascension just needs to put in less effort for that.
And if you're going to look at it, a lot of it is kind of skill shot based or direction based.
Yeah.
So it's looking at the composition that Young Generation has, well, as opposed to Ascension Gaming. I mean, it's basically just a click on for the Cataclysm that Jarvan IV has. A lot more. It's basically a lot more security as well as sureness as to getting
they have damage. They have Jarvan Burst, they have Nooney's Initiation, they have Lloyd's consistent damage as well as Blade Caller Burst, they have G4's natural capability to assassinate a Squishy. All of those combined make YG's job of scaling into this mid game and into the late game much, much harder.
Much more well-rounded in comparison to Young Generation, and looks like Ascension...
Well, yeah, YG's composition is too well-rounded.
Exactly.
And they don't have enough damage because they just have a lot of utility, a lot of all-rounders, but not enough focus in one direction. They have a good wombo combo of CC, but after that, they're left with no ammo whatsoever.
And technically, in order to have that ammo, you kind of need to be ahead, especially with these components for Big Koro and Naul. But since that didn't happen, Venus gets an initiate here, really want in on G4, but not successful enough to take that assassination. Venus goes down. The rest of Young Generation are going to be retreating, though, as Ascension Gaming will be pushing in onto this inhibitor. Are they going to try to finish, though? They will be going first for this inhibitor, though. Mega Gnar is up for Ren. Is he going to try something? Not quite. G4 going to get a good stun there onto Ren, taking quite the damage. That's going to be the initiate coming in from Jisoo. Will be going down, but still, this might be the cleanup coming in from Ascension. Naul Pallet gets the stun, though, onto Big Koro. Will be going down to Lloyd as well, with only the mid laner and support for Young Generation to defend this. Our Ascension Gaming going to try to finish, though. They will be contenting themselves with this inhibitor as they make the retreat.
And that's exactly what I was pointing to. Because there is no damage from YG, even if Venus gets a super good body slam, even if there's a 4-man shockwave, there's no damage. There's nothing from YG, and we'll see a replay of what happened here. Big Koro actually gets a pretty good slam here into the team fight. But earlier, you see G4 still alive, even with all the initiation from the jungler. Even if Naul got a perfect 4-man shockwave, they could just not finish the job.
And again, this is just the tricky part. The issue that Young Generation has to deal with when you're kind of behind right now. And again, it doesn't really help that technically the component that shouldn't necessarily be getting the kills is kind of, but although in all fairness to Naul, Noez is at a 2-2-2, but what's that in comparison to a 7-1-3 Syndra?
Definitely, and at this point, it's just the playing out of the draft. This is begun in the draft and will end as YG gets a really good initiation but no damage follow-up. Here, the next big turning point of this fight will be Ascension. This is one point in the game, the Baron dance, where this composition from YG can work out. If they get a good CC lock in the Baron pit, it's essentially a 6v5 with Baron helping them out. But they have to play it so carefully, and Venus has to be so cautious in how he plays this.
Here comes the teleport there coming from Jisoo. Gonna be doing his job again as to zone out the members of Young Generation, but looks like Venus will be getting the steal though, will be going down to the result, but looks like Ascension gonna try to seek some vengeance here. Jisoo going hard here onto Ren as the rest of Young Generation tries to go for the recall. Yes, they will be going back, but that'll leave Ascension Gaming furious as they go for the offensive. Looks like they'll be heading towards mid, but no, they will be transitioning to the bot side. That is a wave kind of pushed in though, but Naul with this Baron empowered wave will be pushing that away. Ascension Gaming trying to push it out here. It's going to be tricky though. No wave to Baron empower, so that'll grant Ascension Gaming all the more incentive to push in. Shockwave not quite working. Won't connect onto anyone from Ascension Gaming. Okay,
Ascension still playing this very aggressively. They don't want YG to really get value from this Baron buff. Jisoo might pay the price.
Indeed,
Dark
Jisoo
passage,
taking a bit.
so helpful. And now this leaves Lloyd with the opportunity to push mid lane. YG, they're still on the defensive here despite stealing such a great objective. Ascension, they might still be gunning for that inhibitor, but I think here they'll cut their losses and return to their bases, get their gold back, and just buy their items, regroup, and then get ready for the next fight.
Indeed. Wave pushing in right now. Ascension Gaming will be pulling back, but let's go ahead and check out what happened in this repeat for the Baron steal. So, teleport actually coming in from Jisoo. It's just that he was dealing with a lot of elements coming in from Young Generation, not to mention that the Glacial Prison actually missed out on Venus. And
I think the Drunken Rage as well helped a lot in stealing that. But in the end, will it matter? YG has to use this, but Ascension has so many tools to stop the pushes by way of just pushing down YG into the ground and then taking them down with sheer damage. So YG cannot be too confident in this Baron buff they have achieved.
There we go. This is actually a good saver for Young Generation in the sense that they definitely have a better delay, allows them to buy time for both Naul and Big Coral to build up on the necessary items that they need. But looks like Venus will be trying to back away from this 4 members of Ascension Gaming converging onto them right now. But Lloyd actually trying to go for a flank, gets spotted out by the rest of Young Generation.
No Featherstorm. This could be an opportunity for YG. But seems like they realize they still cannot take a fight like that.
No, but still this Baron empowered wave definitely helping them at dealing with the pressure coming in from Ascension Gaming. So we'll just have
G4 still looking to build up his fears. He has the blue buff. He can do this indefinitely. And they're converging around the inhibitor. YG losing 2 inhibitors at once would be disastrous, because that would eventually overpower the Baron waves.
And if you're going to look at itemization, Lloyd and Big Coral almost actually even in the sense.
Yeah.
The only build-up difference is the Doran's Blade already having been sold by Lloyd in order to go for that Vampiric Scepter. So it's roughly just about, in terms of the value of items that they have, probably around 400 to 1k gold difference. So
YG's back buff actually doing a lot of work. You don't see it, but if Ascension got the Baron buff, this game would be over already. But since YG got the Baron buff, they were able to use it to repel Ascension's aggression. So actually, very good value, but it might just be delaying the inevitable. 2 inhibitors now up for YG. The top side has respawned. So now Ascension needs to work harder for that pressure. And now Jisoo is doing that by splitting on the bot side of the map. Oh my dear,
that was
Pallet.
so fast for me to even spot out. Pallet does go down here, as this might be
2 big cooldowns down for Ascension, however. Glacial
yes.
Prison and Unleash Power not available for the next minute. This could be a little bit of YG's opportunities to get back in this game by using that window of opportunity.
Actually does manage to cancel out.
I think Jisoo just wants a turret, doesn't care about Venus.
The rest of Ascension, though, converging onto this inhibitor turret, that is going to be pressure granted back to them. And Baron is down already for
We'll
Young
start
Generation.
converging around the top side to push those waves. Jisoo now the target of YG here. He has to get away.
Actually gets canceled out.
Actually, but that explosive cast still saved him.
Regardless. And here we go. Ascension Gaming, though, gonna be transitioning towards this top side. Will want in on this inhibitor that will grant them all the more pressure. And if ever Baron does come out later, but actually Elder will be coming up in a while as well. So
I think we won't be reaching that point against unless YG gets a really good repelling defense here. Ascension. They're looking to end the game by picking a fight in this topside inhibitor. Pallet goes in.
Pallet does try to go in on the G4, but G4 able to negate a lot of that damage, though. Naul quite low as well as Ascension just continues in on the inhibitor. Young Generation trying to seek out an opportunity. Unfortunately, doesn't get a successful knockback. Even with the shockwave, doesn't deal that much damage. And that will grant Ascension Gaming potentially. That will be the shutdown onto G4, though. Jisoo going in onto 3 members of Young Generation, while the rest of Ascension juggles out with 2 members of Young Generation. Big Goro getting the kill onto Jisoo as Ascension Gaming are forced to receive. Not even able to get that inhibitor to boot.
Great from YG. They make a good play with Pallet with so much initiative. The only problem is that they lack damage to actually take down more members of Ascension, but that was definitely good. A big win from YG to be able to repel that offensive from Ascension. Lloyd lives through that, but without G4, that's also a lot of damage taken away from Ascension.
And let's go ahead and check out the replay here as to what exactly.
This Pallet just goes in without any warning against Ascension. And you can see here the sheer focus onto G4. We'll see it in a little bit as Venus and Ren will jump towards him a little bit. They're still fighting for this inhibitor, but there, as soon as the Gnar ultimate goes down, they just converge onto G4. Lloyd is still free hitting here, but YG is doing their job slowly but surely. Jisoo tries to repel them off, zone them from the fight, and at this point, Lloyd actually deals a lot of damage, but not enough to take down Ren because G4 is dead. Ren actually falls down. Venus, rather, was not killed. So, very good targeting by YG there.
And as a result, you know, because of this opportunity by Young Generation, they were able to kind of get some vision on towards Baron's side. Baron is live right now, so this will definitely be interesting to see. Will second time be the charm for him in this case?
This is another turning point for this battle. The previous turning point ended in favor of YG. They did steal the Baron, which denied Ascension the hard push that they wanted, allowed YG to defend against Ascension's siege, but they still have to be absolutely careful here. They don't want to throw it again. Ascension wants this Baron buff.
Ooh, gets a little bit of a knockup on Naul right there, but that will be Young Generation. Jisoo actually now within the vicinity, not going to force anything though. That would be a little bit too dangerous. Looks like Ascension.
Will they posture? They will actually go for the Baron at this point.
We'll just have to see. The Warlock might be the one to try to get the distraction and disruption onto the members.
Now they get it.
Of Young Generation, but looks like we'll be seeing another fight. Shockwave actually manages to get Warlock here. Jisoo does go in on the squishier members of Young Generation.
Oh, that's big.
Gonna try to help. Double kill for Lloyd. They're taking down members of Young Generation way too fast. Quadra kill. Are we gonna be seeing the Penta though? I'm looking for the Penta kill indeed.
For Lloyd, and that's huge. That will actually mean the end of the game. Ascension winning this first game of the match with an explosive pentakill from Lloyd. He will actually be taking down these turrets very quickly with his Baron buff. Beautiful, beautiful team fight from Ascension there. Jisoo knows his targets, jumps on them, and that might have not been enough, but Lloyd actually flashes over with a Feather Storm into huge burst from the Blade Caller to just finish off all the remaining members of YG, giving them the first victory in this best of 5.
Yes, there we go.
Wow.
A little bit of a delay there by that second Baron take, but nonetheless, it did not. Ultimately, it was just Ascension Gaming's game right there. Played definitely better, better zoning. Didn't really grant Venus the opportunity to get that steal a third time around?
I don't think Venus should have gone for the steal at that
Definitely.
point. I think what YG should have done is, instead of going behind the Baron pit, they collapse onto them through the bot side of the Baron pit and trap them within the vicinity. Because at that point, if you're trying to go for a steal, that means Venus is out of position to frontline for your team, right?
Indeed.
And that left Big Koro so vulnerable, even with such a good shockwave from Naul, because Jisoo was able to jump over onto Big Koro, and actually Lloyd flashes over. That spelled the end of YG, because they were in a position where they were in a fight where they were just trying to steal the Baron, but Ascension gave them a big fight and they lost from that.
Indeed. So there you go, ladies and gents. Close enough to Worlds. Game 1 taken by Ascension Gaming, but will Young Generation make the necessary adaptations to take a Game 2 to make it even 1-1 once again? We'll just have to see. But for the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, we have been your casters for this game. Arc to get your service, fam. And of course, with me is Atlas. This has been the Garena Premier League Summer 2017 season. Game 1 in this best of 5. We'll be right back, so stay tuned. Really want in on G4, but not successful enough to take that assassination. Venus goes down.
That's
the rest of Young
about.
Generation are going to be retreating, though, as Ascension Gaming will be pushing in onto this inhibitor. Are they going to try to finish, though? They will be going first for this inhibitor, though. Meganar is up for Ren. Is he going to try something? Not quite. G4 going to get a good stun there onto Ren, taking quite the damage. That's going to be the initiate coming in from Jisoo. Will be going down, but still, this might be the cleanup coming in from Ascension. Now, Palette gets the stun, though, onto Big Koro. Will be going down to Lloyd as well, with only the mid laner and support for Young Generation to defend this. Our Ascension Gaming is going to be doing his job again as to zone out the members of Young Generation, but looks like Venus will be getting the steal, though, will be going down as a result, but looks like Ascension going to try to seek some vengeance here. Jisoo going hard here onto Ren as the rest of Young Generation tries to go for
Palette goes in.
Palette does try to go in onto G4, but G4 able to negate a lot of that damage, though. Naul quite low as well, as Ascension just continues in on the inhibitor. Young Generation trying to seek out an opportunity. Unfortunately, doesn't get a successful knockback. Even with the shockwave, doesn't deal that much damage. And that will grant Ascension Gaming potentially. That will be the shutdown onto G4, though. Jisoo going in onto 3 members of Young Generation, while the rest of Ascension juggles out with 2 members of Young Generation. Big Koro getting the kill onto Jisoo, as Ascension Gaming are forced to get the distraction and disruption onto the members.
Now they get it.
Of Young Generation, but looks like we'll be seeing another fight. Shockwave actually manages to get Warlock here. Jisoo does go in on the squishier members of Young Generation.
Oh, that's big.
Gonna try to help. Double kill for Lloyd. They're taking down members of Young Generation way too fast. Quadra kill. Are we gonna be seeing the Penta, though? I'm looking for the Penta. Penta kill indeed.
For Lloyd,
Might have
and
not
that's
been
huge.
enough.
But Lloyd actually flashes over with a Feather Storm into huge burst from the Blade Caller to just finish off all the remaining members of